Transcript. The laughter had faded, the music had stopped, and the soft clink of empty glasses was all that remained. Ethan sat alone on the couch, surrounded by half-eaten cupcakes and crumpled napkins. Balloons drooped in the corner, and the once lively glow of the party lights now flickered weakly like they too were ready to leave. It was his birthday, his first one, after losing his wife Emily. He hadn't wanted the party. His friends had insisted. "You need to be around people again, man. It'll be good for you," they'd said. So he smiled, played host, laughed when he was supposed to, and nodded when people said how great it was to see him back. But deep inside, he'd felt like a ghost at his own celebration. Now, everyone was gone except her, Maya, Emily's younger sister. She stood quietly by the doorway, arms crossed, watching him the way people watch a fragile thing they're afraid to touch. "Hey," she said softly, walking closer. "You okay?" Ethan forced a smile. "Yeah, just, parties." She gave a small, knowing laugh. "You always hated parties." He looked up, surprised. "Emily told you that? She told me everything," Maya said. Her voice was gentle, but it carried a weight that filled the empty room. She started picking up paper plates, moving around with quiet purpose. "You don't have to clean up," Ethan said. "I know," she replied, "but I want to." They worked side by side in silence for a few minutes. Outside, the wind rustled the trees, and somewhere in the distance, a car door slammed. When they were done, Maya sat beside him on the couch. The same couch where he and Emily used to watch late-night movies, legs tangled under a shared blanket. "It's strange," he said, staring at the floor. "Everyone tells you to move on, like grief has an expiration date." Maya nodded slowly. "It doesn't. You just learn to live with it." Ethan's throat tightened. "Some days I forget for a moment. Then I see her coffee mug or hear her song on the radio and it all comes rushing back." She looked at him, eyes shining but steady. "That's love. It doesn't disappear. It just changes form." He turned toward her, really seeing her for the first time that night, not as Emily's little sister, but as someone who understood his silence, his exhaustion, his need to remember and to heal. For a long time, neither spoke. Then Maya smiled, not the kind meant to fix things, but the kind that quietly said, "I'm here, and you're not alone." "Everyone left the party," she said softly, her voice almost a whisper. "But I stayed because now it's just us." Ethan felt something inside him shift, a tiny flicker of warmth, fragile but real, not romantic, not yet, just human. Someone still cared enough to stay. He exhaled slowly, the tension leaving his body like air from a balloon. "Thank you," he said, "for staying." She reached over and took his hand. "You stayed for Emily all those years. Tonight someone gets to stay for you." Weeks passed. Maya started dropping by with coffee on Sunday mornings, helping him organize old photos, laughing over the little things Emily used to do, like hiding the TV remote in the freezer for fun. Through every story, every shared silence, Ethan found himself remembering not just what he'd lost, but what he still had: connection, compassion, life. One evening, as they watched the sunset from the porch, Maya turned to him and said, I think Emily would have liked this, you smiling again." He smiled faintly. "Yeah, maybe she would have." They sat quietly, watching the last light fade into the horizon. And for the first time in a long while, Ethan didn't feel like he was living in the past. He was simply living, moral. Sometimes the most powerful act of kindness is just staying. When everyone else leaves, the one who stays can help turn grief into healing and loneliness into everyone left the party, but she stayed and said, "Now it's just."